Okay. Yo, yo, yo. What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of Gaming, the ageless wonder, the VR King of the Crumb Side. Your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you with another video, road trip, whatever you want to call it. And just got a message. I'll have to return that shortly. But yeah, there's been a little bit of news this week. But before I get into that, I do want to start off by saying that I do have a total of 3 YouTube channels as well as my Twitch channel. And one of my YouTube channels I made about 10 months ago. The other YouTube channel, I made that channel a couple of days after I got thrown in YouTube jail. So that channel, I think I'm going to leave that one idle until I get out of YouTube jail, because I don't want YouTube to see that as me trying to circumvent the suspension and then, just terminate me altogether. The other channel that I made about 10 months ago, that is for a different kind of content. I am leaning towards using that channel to as a fill-in until I get out of YouTube jail, because I'm trying to decide what content I want to, I want to do live streaming, because that's the best way for people to interact with you. So I'm trying to decide what content to stream live on YouTube and what content to stream live on Twitch. One thing I definitely got figured out is the Friday Night Jam. That is going to stay on Twitch. Both Twitch and YouTube have different ways of dealing with copyrighted material. They both have algorithms, obviously. In the case of Twitch, I think if you play a certain song, this copyright, they just mute you out for a few minutes. So what I don't know is whether that happens live or whether it happens during the playback. So that's something I need to look into. So the next time any of you guys happen to check out the Friday Night Jam, if you happen to hear any of the songs get muted while I'm playing live, let me know, because that would be a critical piece of information that would help me. And whereas YouTube, if I play any songs this copyright, depending on what the song is, you will definitely be blocked. It's just a matter of whether the block is regional or whether it's global. I've had both happen to me. So this Friday Night Jam is definitely going to stay on Twitch, because even if they mute you out for a few minutes, the stream still goes on. People can still see the stream. When I get to a light, I can go ahead and open up one of these sparkling waters. So that's that. What I want to talk about is OC6. We had Oculus Connect 6 this past week, which is, I think, Oculus's version of a Nintendo Direct / E3, where they give keynotes, bring you up to speed on the state of Oculus and what they have planned for the future. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, do they got some big plans. So I touched on this a little bit on Twitch, but I'm doing it here. I'm also basically regurgitating some of this stuff on YouTube because it'll reach more ears. But I guess let's talk about the games first. They have we got a date for Asgard's Wrath. I think that's October 10th. Unfortunately, we found out that Aspire 1 has been suspended. Some people are calling it indefinite, whereas the developers themselves said it's going to be delayed for several weeks. It's a disappointment, but at the same time, if that's what they got to do to make sure the game runs fine, works right, that's fine with me. Also, we have a game called Solaris. which is like a sci-fi first-person shooter from the same people who brought you Firewall Zero Hour. It's going to be a 4-on-4. This game is also going to have dedicated servers. So yes, they are also saying that there's going to be matchmaking improvements to Firewall as well. They're saying huge matchmaking improvements. So they know what people have been hollering about. They made it a point to let everybody know that Solaris is going to have dedicated servers. So they know that that's an issue with people who play Firewall. They know that host migration as well as dedicated servers are a big issue. So it looks like, I would like to think that one of those are going to be addressed. So let's go ahead and pop open this sparkling water. I am on my way to go pick up my son. I've got some errands to run. I also got to take my refurbished computer back to Walmart. As it turned out, my computer was not dead. Cold and delicious. Excuse me. Ooh, listen to that rumble. And as far as the gaming part of Oculus Connect 6 goes, I think the biggest news was we finally found out what the AAA first-person shooter was that Respawn was working on for Oculus Studios. And that is Medal of Honor is coming to VR. That is huge to me. That is big news because... but I do got to point out that I think this is probably going to be an Oculus exclusive because they are doing this for Oculus. Respawn is doing this for Oculus, so I do think this is going to be an Oculus exclusive. Excuse me. But that's also another game that if Oculus were to pair up with Xbox Scarlet, in addition to the Splinter Cell and Assassin's Creed in VR, this is another game that I would like to think would help bolster sales if they were to bring Xbox and Oculus together. So, but that's still out sometime in 2020. That's fine with me. The big thing is that shout out to Oculus, because you guys have been hearing me scream for the longest that I wanted to see VR reach the mainstream. Not so much because I wanted to see it go mainstream. I figured the best way for us to get the kind of games that we want, or at least me, is for VR to go mainstream. The best way, I felt like the best way for me to be able to get games like Call of Duty or Battlefield in VR, sports titles in VR that I've talked about, I figured the best way for that to happen is for VR to go mainstream, and then once these AAA publishers see that there's money to be made in VR, then they would jump on board. But shout out to Oculus for not waiting for VR to go mainstream. That they went and got a AAA title and they're bringing it to VR. So shout out to Oculus for that, because before Call of Duty was the main man, I think Medal of Honor was the big title. It's just that when I got introduced to Medal of Honor, it was on the OG Xbox, and I don't think the game was online. So when I played it, I played local multiplayer. You know how the old Xbox, I think they were the first console to start that four-way split screen. No. They weren't the first ones to do it. The Dreamcast was the first ones I've seen do it. But in any case, it was still a lot of fun. And Medal of Honor was I think that was the marquee run and gun shooter before Call of Duty came along. So that's big. And that's going to be a day one purchase for me. I'm really excited about that game, as well as the First Contact Entertainment game, Solaris. That's going to be a purchase for me as well, especially knowing that the game has dedicated servers, so there isn't going to be any lag. There shouldn't be any host issues, that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. And what else did we get coming out of Oculus? Finger tracking. You know, we got that's going to be coming to the Quest, but there doesn't seem to be any plans for finger tracking to come to the Rift S. A little unfortunate, but I guess I'll get a little more excited about the finger tracking once we get games that takes advantage of it. Because I think once they start rolling out games that support finger tracking, I think they're just going to be demos. You know, I'll get a little bit excited about it when we get full-blown games that support finger tracking. Like, case in point, over with the Valve Index. The only game that they put out, I believe, was Boneworks. And from what I've seen of it, the game looks more like a demo than it does a game. And that's been it. I don't know if they're going to put out anything else, or if they're going to rely on third party to support finger tracking. I don't know. But in any case, it's still a feature that I believe is going to help move VR forward. So that's cool. And then what else did we have coming out of OC6? They showed a social app that was like crazy, where a man and a woman were like talking in VR, and it looked like their actual bodies. So there was, when they showed them wearing the headsets, there was actually some kind of extension that came down, you know, to about the bottom of their chins, and somehow I think it was able to scan their entire faces. And then they not only showed this man's head in VR conversing with a woman, they also showed his entire body. So this is going to take social apps to a completely different level. So social apps are cool, but I guess that's something that I'll just, I'll cross that bridge when it gets there. But that's another feature that's moving VR forward. There's so many things you can do with VR right now that people just don't know about, and there's going to be much more stuff coming, as evident by OC6. And now we get to the point of what this entire video was about. Oculus revealed something that was that I felt was amazing, but alarming at the same time. In November, they're going to be rolling out a software update that they are calling Oculus Link, that is going to allow Quest owners to connect their headsets to a PC and play Rift games and Steam VR games through your Oculus Quest headset. When I first heard about that, I felt like my first initial reaction was, it's about time. Because that was one of the things people had been talking about that own the Quest anyway, was there any plans to implement a functionality that allows you to connect your headset to a PC? And now we're finally going to get that. But then when I actually took a moment to think about it, I said, several things come to mind. Okay, as far as graphics goes, are we going to get Quest graphics, or are we going to get Rift graphics to be supplied by the PC? Because case in point, PokerStars VR The Quest version of PokerStars VR, oof, you know, bottom line is the casino itself doesn't look bad. It's the characters inside the casino. The characters look like PlayStation 1 characters. So I'm wondering, is that what we're going to see when we play Rift games through the Quest? Or will we see the PC graphics? And I guess that's been answered because some YouTubers that were at OC6 that had a chance to try it out. Anthony of VR365 said that he got a chance to try it and he did not notice any degradation in graphics. So that's refreshing to hear. And then there was another YouTuber who said he got to try it also, and he said he didn't, the 70 hertz that the Oculus Quest puts out, he thought that was going to affect the performance, but he said he didn't notice any downgrade in performance. But I guess there was a few people who tried it that said something about a cropped picture. But this particular YouTuber said the picture did not look cropped to him. So, bottom line is, your Quest is about to be an Oculus Rift as well. And what I think, when they get this thing right and they get it fully optimized, it may look better than the Quest, than the Rift, because you have to keep in mind that the Quest has a resolution of 1600p. The Quest does, and the Rift S has a resolution of 1440. So, with that being said, that brings me to the part where we just crossed that thin line from amazing to alarming. Staying in the realm of amazing, that also means that I may not need to get my son a Rift S, because he already has his Quest and he can basically use that. But now on the alarming side, crossing that line, the first thing that hit my head, and I think it was the first thing that hit a lot of other YouTubers' heads, is what does this mean for the Oculus Rift? Because if you allow the Oculus Quest to connect to a PC and the games look just as good as an Oculus Rift S and they perform just as good as an Oculus Rift S, there isn't going to be a need for an Oculus Rift S. From a common sense standpoint, if someone were to come up to me and say they were thinking about getting an Oculus Quest and ask me for my opinion, I would absolutely tell them to go for it, because now you also have the option that if you have a gaming PC, that you can plug your Quest up to that gaming PC and get Rift type quality and performance. So, to me, that sounds like the Rift S is going to be a lame duck. And it begs the question, will the Rift S eventually be discontinued? And it's I don't know, the more I think about it, it feels like it's a matter of it feels like it's a matter of when rather than if. So, I don't know. I have my Oculus Rift S. I don't think it affects me, but others may not feel that way. They may feel like, hey, I just bought a Rift S and now you're about to discontinue it. So, I don't know. I don't know how they feel, but my concerns about Oculus moving forward has nothing to do with whether or not they're going to continue to produce the Rift S or not. My biggest concern has been some of the others' concerns is that being that the Oculus Quest is going to be their main focus, are we going to get a situation where games are built from the ground up for the Quest and then, they throw a little bit of polish on it for the Rift S? Where essentially you're playing a Quest game that's got a little bit better coat of paint on it. And it may not, it may not be worse. It may be worse than that. Case in point is Vader Immortal Episode 2. I just bought that last night, and I took a look at both the Rift version and the Quest version, and it was like damn near hard to tell the difference. So I think, I don't know, I think the Rift version might have looked about that much better than the Quest. It was really, really hard to tell the difference. At this point, as far as playing Vader Immortal, at this point, they look so close that it doesn't matter to me which one I play it on. The only reason why I would play it on the Rift S is for streaming purposes, so I can stream it to Twitch or YouTube, whatever. So I'm hoping, is that going to be the future for Oculus moving forward, where we basically get Quest games that are not fully optimized for the Rift. So we'll see. I mean, but at the same time, I still have to take my hat off to Oculus, because again, for VR to get where I want it to be, Oculus and Sony are going to be important components to make that happen, because they're going to be the ones with pockets deep enough to put out the kind of games that I'd like to see. So I think that's about all I got for this video. Hopefully I will put out another video today, because I've been thinking a lot about The Last of Us 2, all the videos that we've seen so far, and I'm still trying to put this timeline together. And how I think this story is going to play out all depends on one key element. So make sure you check out that video when I put that video out, and I will record this, and I will record a video rather than stream it on Twitch, because again, I think it'll reach more ears, and not because of whether or not I think YouTube is a better platform or not. I just I built my channel on YouTube. So I mean, there's actually some things about Twitch that I actually like better than YouTube. So that is going to do it for me. That's all I got. I can't really think of anything else. Yeah, so a lot of big news that came out of OC6, Oculus Connect 6. The future looks very bright for VR. We are going to move forward in leaps and bounds, and not baby steps. So I don't know, in the years to come, there might be more VR content and features out there that we know what to do with. So, but thanks for watching. I'm Boogie on out of here. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. And I'll see about streaming something today. We'll see what happens. And with that being said, I'm gonna boogie on out of here. Thanks everybody for watching. I will catch y'all later. Deuces.